And we stay with that focus for the day. The rail network, which has been derailed with little hope of getting it back on track. There's been a spate of high-level resignations, though, at Transnet. We've heard Professor Bonke Dumisa also mentioning that management within Transnet also needs to come into question and needs a whole lot of fixing. But we know now that the group CEO and the CFO have been shunted, as well as the head of freight rail. The failure of the network is not good for the economy that is slowly thus just chugging along. So eNCA reporter Pule Letshwiti-Jones is looking into this particular issue, joining me right now to give us the latest from where he stands. Pule, good morning to you, colleague. I mean, this is our focus, but as I've spoken to Professor Bonke Dumisa, it seemed like it was not the case previously with the South African rail and harbours. There were a lot more systems, but now with Transnet, there are a lot of problems, and I'm sure from where you stand, you can articulate some of them for us.
Yeah, definitely. It seems as though really things haven't been going quite well for Transnet as well. Its operations are not doing quite well. We've seen as well, like you've rightly said, with the CEO and the CFO, top executives at the State Parastatal who have recently stepped down as well. And we're coming to you, of course, live from outside the City Deep terminal as well, and the container depot, where some of these containers will be shipped and moved around the country as well, and essentially out of the country as well. So you can imagine Transnet plays a crucial role in the country's economy. But of course, there's been a lot of challenges affecting the State Parastatal, such as the delay in the transportation of freight and fuel around the country, iron ore and coal, but also we've seen how entities companies such as the Minerals Council has come out to say that the decaying and of course the crumbling railway network and infrastructure has a burden on the mining sector, costing the country billions annually as well. And this is not really such a good outlook for the State Parastatal as well. But I'm joined, of course, now with Alvin Harris, who will be speaking to us, of course. And Alvin has a background. You've worked in Transnet before as well. But seemingly what we're seeing here is really not a good picture, Alvin. The question then would be, is there a concern around what we're currently seeing, particularly with the challenges around the leadership at Transnet and, of course, the lawlessness? Has this derailed Transnet? And how long will it take for Transnet to actually recover?
Good morning, Pule. Good morning to your viewers. Yes, it is a concern. It's a concern, I think, for every South African. One doesn't have to necessarily be in the logistics industry. One doesn't have to be on the Minerals Council. I think we all feel the pinch as consumers. You know, every time you can buy your bread and your consumer goods, every second week, every month, prices have increased. So all of this, builds up and has an impact on all of us. As the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport in South Africa, of course, as a body representing logistics and supply chain and transportation professionals in the country, we are concerned. We try and do our jobs. The people in the industries do their jobs as well as they could. And if rail is not functioning properly, it's very difficult to have efficient logistics put in place to serve the economy well.
The former Transnet CEO, of course, recently coming out alluding to the fact that she fears that there could be more job losses in the trucking industry if the rail network were to improve. I mean, just behind you, you'd see the trucks that are moving around, shipping containers or driving containers, transporting containers as well. Do you agree with the statement?
Partially, yes. I think in the short term, if Transnet Freight Rail does, get its act together and some of the things that it's working on bears fruit, and they claw back some of the traffic that they've lost, there will be an impact. I think partially on the trucking industry. I don't think the impact will be as great, though. I think as long as between government and industry, concerted efforts to get the economy growing again, that bears fruit, then, the investments that trucking companies are making into trucks now can fairly easily be redeployed, into other areas of the market. Also, Truck, the investment period is, normally 5 years or less, and maybe up to 8 years. So I don't think it will be that significant of an impact on the trucking industry. But there will be some.
I mean, we speak about how the mining industry has been challenged. The automobile industry has been challenged. Economists say the underperformance of Transnet is placing about 60% of the country's GDP at risk. Is this significantly alarming to the point that the economy of this country is now at risk with the crumbling down of Transnet operations as well?
I think that is a bit exaggerated, and I think that really takes a very glum look. Of course, so much of the economy is at stake, but it will take a total collapse of the total transport system. We know trucking moves about 85% of the product. So even if there's a total collapse of the railway, it certainly will not affect 60% of the economy and cause a 60% decline in our GDP. I think that's a maximum scenario if the whole system collapses, when that is very unlikely. So no, I don't agree with those kinds of statistics. I think it's just too over-exaggerated. Of course, we do need a well-functioning railway, even for trucks to operate well and efficiently. The interconnections between rail and road needs to be efficient. That's what efficient intermodalism is what makes Europe work so well, what makes North America work so well, what makes Asia work so well. And so we need that. And in order for that to have that, you do need an efficient functioning railway system.
And of course, lastly again, can Transnet recover? Is there hope? Is there light at the end of the tunnel? Despite all of these challenges, we are seeing how this has terribly had a knock-on effect somehow on the economy. Can Transnet recover?
Transnet can recover, and Transnet must recover. And I think whether you're inside of Transnet or outside of Transnet, I think we all need to see what role we can play to enable that. The moves being made by the National Logistics Crisis Committee are great moves, and it has to recover. It will take time. I think similarly to the Eskom challenges that they have, there are huge structural issues. Eskom as well as Transnet sit with significant debt burdens that needs to be unwound. I think significant amounts of money needs to go into Transnet, not only from the private sector that can come in, but I think also from government side, although the coffers are a bit empty at the moment, but significant money needs to go in. And I think over the next 3 to 5 years, we can certainly see some turnaround happening. I don't think, even if now that the executives are leaving, if tomorrow, we bring in the best railway people in the world, it's still not going to be sufficient to turn things around, say within 6 months, within a short period of time. The problems are significant. And these are problems that's built up over decades just by the design of the railway. We effectively have almost 4 different railways in one within Transnet Freight Rail. And so to bring all of that to homogeneity and to improve all of the efficiencies, it's going to take a lot of investment, a lot of money, and quite a bit of time. So I don't think short-term, initiatives can bear fruit, and that will be important for us to see and to realize. But I think to deal with the structural challenges within the railway system, that's going to take time, definitely.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alvin Harris, for joining us this morning. Of course, President of Chartered Institutes for Transport and Logistics, just painting an image of how really it could take some time to try and have the railway network recover and of course, transform Transnet as a state parastatal as well into a direction which would bear good results. So yeah, those are some of the views we're getting here on the ground, and we hopefully will be waiting to hear from Transnet as well as to what are some of the things that will be happening from their side going forward or moving forward.
Absolutely, especially with the executive, as we've rightfully mentioned in the beginning, the CEO, the CFO, both having resigned at this stage. What happens operationally, especially at executive level, to ensure they have the right personnel in place to assist Transnet? That's Pule Letshwiti-Jones, eNCA reporter, looking into our focus regarding the decay of our railway networks in South Africa, particularly on Transnet.